I heard you saying that it was a pity. Pity that I never had any children. But you're wrong. I have had children. Thousands of them. And they're all boys.
What kind of accent is that?
Hollywood, darling.
Yikes. On this episode of Remakes, what were they thinking? We conclude our fan recommendation theme with a wonderful suggestion by our dear, dear friend, Debbie Fitzmaurice. Hi, Debbie!
She is a friend of ours, and she's a retired music teacher. She taught in elementary schools.
She recommended the 1939 original Goodbye, Mr. Chips, and asked us to follow it up with the 1969 musical remake Goodbye, Mr. Chips.
Hey, did you know that our movie is based on a novella?
Nope. In fact, I had no idea these movies existed until Debbie recommended them. Thanks, Debbie!
Yep. The novella is entitled Goodbye, Mr. Chips, and it was written by James Hilton. James Hilton attended a private boarding school, so he based the character Mr. Chips on the headmaster and his own father.
Interesting. So what's our plot, Anne?
Basically, it covers the story of a teacher over a number of years at a boarding school and his interactions with the students and the people he worked with. Hey,
yeah,
you know, we're going to need some props.
Always.
But I had to return Ken and his loser friend.
Well, that's a shame.
And the Barbies, they're packed away until January because I had to put Christmas out.
Them bitches got what they deserved.
What should we use?
Okay, so thankfully, I found the perfect props to represent our 1939 and 1969 remake. So, starting with the 1939 original Goodbye, Mr. Chips, we have this iconic Kitty Cucumber student.
Oh, he's so cute.
Isn't he adorable?
I love him.
Yes.
He'll work.
Okay. To represent the 1969 musical remake, we have this Kitty Cucumber. He's in timeout in a dunce cap.
Oh, what a precious little baby.
Apparently these little babies are worth money. As always, we are going to start by talking about the original. So the 1939 Goodbye, Mr. Chips.
And Mr. Chips, his name was Chippings, Mr. Chippings, he was played by Robert Donay. He was the Latin teacher for the boys in this private boarding school.
You want to talk about a dead language? I mean, dona nobis facem, yo.
So it's kind of a memoir of his career of over 50 years as a teacher. And the movie begins with him sitting in a chair and he's elderly. And then it goes backwards where he starts out, how he arrived at the school and became the teacher for these boys.
And of course, being a fresh meat type of teacher, the kids have no respect for him. They try to do all sorts of crazy antics, but over time, you see him develop into a better man and a fantastic teacher. Now, granted, it's Latin, so like, who knows if he was actually good at teaching Latin, but it's amazing to see the level of respect his students had for him.
He was firm, but they respected him for that. And they all knew him, and their fathers had him, their grandfathers had him. He was very well loved, I would say.
Absolutely. And so then halfway through the movie, of course, Mr. Chips goes on holiday because why not? And he meets this amazingly independent, fierce gal by the name of Catherine.
Played by the fabulous Greer Garson.
So, I mean, I think it's safe to say he was kind of taken by her. I mean,
she was completely different than him.
She wanted, like, nothing to do with, like, him. She's like, I don't need your help. I don't need this. And I'm like, get it. Like, That's what
he's like, I need to help you. Yeah. Do you need my sweater?
No, she's like, I got this. I'm an independent woman. But they end up married.
Yep, he brings her back to school.
And his colleagues are like, what? Huh?
Chips?
But I maintain that Catherine helped mold Mr. Chips into being a better teacher and a better man. And her presence at the school really lightened everything up even more.
Oh yeah, everyone had great respect and adoration for Catherine.
Absolutely.
But spoiler, Catherine dies in childbirth. She's only in the film for like 25 minutes and you love every minute of it.
And when Mr. Chips gets the news, he keeps teaching.
He does. He doesn't leave his podium. You can see that it's affected him.
And his kids were trying to like do a little joke because that's the type of relationship they had. And literally, like, they get the news and they're like, Mr. Chips, Mr. Chips. And he was like, turn to your book. And you're like, what?
He kept on.
He kept going.
You could see him kind of break down a little bit. It was so special. It was so sweet.
Yep. And he tried very hard to get the headmaster position. And I think he only got it because of the war.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the 1969 musical remake of Goodbye, Mr. Chips.
Starring Peter O'Toole and Petula Clark.
I had no idea she was in a movie.
She did Finian's Rainbow. So the movie was a really beautiful overview of England and other areas. It was told through song. The singers, they didn't act them out. It was basically...
They strayed from the story. I'm just going to say
there was
it, okay?
not enough time in the classroom. There were just small scenes of him interacting with the students, but it became more of a love story.
It was literally like a music montage of love and lust.
So how did they meet? Tell them how they met.
Okay, so apparently Catherine is a showgirl or a theater or whatever, and she's in this like West End production of London, the musical. Not really, but pretty much. And
She was the feature girl. She was it.
whatever. So then like he's there because his friend is like
Has
either
a crush on her.
obsessed, in love, or is going to marry her, or they're dating, but they're not really dating. I don't know. The whole thing was like, okay, dude, like,
Okay, all right.
you're reaching for the stars there.
She had to sing. It's in her contract.
Yep. And so then, like, okay, so they meet and they have dinner or whatever, and then he goes on holiday, and he
To Pompeii.
by himself, and there's
Shows
Catherine
up. Yeah. He's sitting there looking at the sights of an old...
walking around in
theater.
ruins in high heels, which doesn't make any sense.
And all of a sudden, there she is. She appears. Hello!
Oh, I took a month off from work. Who gets a month off from work?
From performing. Come on. There wasn't a pandemic.
Nope.
Okay. So they spend, I don't know how long the segment was. I mean, it was beautiful. You saw all the ruins of Pompeii. They're getting to know each other.
Okay, look, if you like sappy love stories and like music and beautiful scenery, this is for you. This is not for me. Okay?
So they come back to school. They're married. And
Yeah.
Catherine doesn't feel very comfortable. She feels like she doesn't fit in and she feels mildly bullied. So she runs off. And he literally chases after her.
Well, everyone was bullying her when she was wearing a yellow dress to something.
Yeah, I didn't like that. They made her very weak. But he chases after her, and where does she end up?
She's at a friend's party, and what is she doing at the party? She's in the kitchen cooking. She's not
I wouldn't be doing
drinking
that
and
at a party.
socializing.
No,
Like,
I'm not
sorry.
going to cook at your party.
If I ran off angry at my man, I'd be drinking and maybe making out with some random dude.
Right? So he brings her back, and she learns how to assimilate, and all of a sudden, everybody loves her. She knows all the boys' names at school.
But how does she die?
Oh, they killed her off. But they kept her in the show for such a long time. She was performing in kind of like a USO show for the boys for World War II. Different time frame. Yeah, they don't show it. But again, Chipping gets the
They
news.
literally changed. Like, doesn't it?
Oh, I know. She got killed off when she was singing. Yeah, they changed how she died. They did. But, they delivered the news to him in the same way as the original. I like that they kept that. Good
I feel
continuity.
like he didn't care.
Did you? Yeah.
He didn't care.
That's why Robert Downey got the award for it and Peter O'Toole didn't.
So, believe it or not, both films end the same way. Basically. So we have an older, wiser, almost retired Mr. Chips.
He's reflecting over his time spent at the school
Mm-hmm.
and speaking to a young boy that stopped by.
Yep, he's a new student. I'm very scared about school! Or some random little kid dialogue that you're just like, oh, really?
Oh, you'll do fine.
Yep.
Type thing.
And he offers tea and they have cake or something.
And I think that's where the boy asks him, but you never had any children.
Yes.
Yes, I have.
And in both versions,
Thousands.
yeah, he said either in the original he said thousands, in the 1969 version
Hundreds.
he says hundreds.
Yes.
So, okay.
All
sure.
boys.
All boys. And then he tells the little boy to
He encourages him. You'll be fine.
there's the bell, and then the kid turns around and goes, "Goodbye, Mr. Chips."
So can we talk about the music from the 1969 version?
Absolutely. Take it away.
It was written by Leslie Bricusse, who is known for Scrooge and Dr. Dolittle. He does some wonderful things. But when I think musical, I think old school musical, like break into song and dance, Rodgers and Hammerstein, MGM musicals.
The stuff I hate.
Right. But I mean, okay, so there were 12 to 13 musical numbers. For the most part, only a couple of them were staged where a person broke into song.
Nothing really stuck in my head.
Fill the World with Song. I liked that one. That was a school song. But basically the songs were pre-recorded and played over as kind of a reflective thought. You saw the action or the person walking in Pompeii, for example, Catherine, and you heard her thoughts in song. So that was something new for me. In all the years that I've seen musicals, that was something new for me. It was different. Not sure. I'm still jury's still out
Nothing
whether
was
I liked it or not.
memorable. I'm sorry. I can't think of a pivotal moment in this movie where I was like, oh my God, that was such a great musical number. Like,
Yeah.
at least one. At least just give me
World
one.
with love. I like that one. And the lyrics are nice. Good job, Leslie, on that one. Okay, we need to wrap it up because my hat is slipping as we speak.
All right, so let's talk about what we liked and disliked, if we have a favorite, for each of the films. So starting with the 1939 original, Goodbye, Mr. Chips.
Great film. I loved Robert Downey and Greer Garson. They did a good job giving a good story of 50-year career of a teacher. I like the way the students were portrayed. Good film.
So, newsflash, I actually enjoyed this movie. I know, shocking for Kerri Lynn in any ChatterBox Divas situation. So, I appreciated the way Mr. Chips was depicted, how he wasn't the best teacher in the very beginning, but his rapport with the students was magnificent over time. I also appreciated the relationship that he and Catherine had. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So let's move on to the 1969 musical remake.
I liked it. There were parts that seemed to go on too long. The music, it was nice enough. I wasn't completely sold on the relationship of the two actors, but, you know, at the end, it redeemed itself, and I was touched. Like I said, a little long in parts, but that's about it.
I got bored.
You got bored.
I got bored. But I would like to say that I didn't know that Petula Clark could act, dance, and sing, be a triple threat. And kudos. Great. She saved the movie for me. So huzzah!
We've got to look up and see what she's done, because maybe she did a lot in England. You know, I mean, she was a huge pop singer here.
Yeah.
But so there goes my hat. So, well, this brings us to the end of 2020.
And that means, folks, this is the last episode we will be recording until the new year.
This was episode 22. Do you realize we've watched over 40 films?
More like 50. And then we also did a bunch of specials.
Oh, we did. And The Fringe.
So, we did Christmas. We did it in July. So, if you feel like you need a little bit more Chatterbox Divas in your life, which why wouldn't you? Because we're awesome. Why don't you head to episode 115 and 116, and those are our Christmas episodes.
Miracle on 34th Street and Scrooge.
You will not be disappointed.
But we'll post something on social media just as a reminder, so you can click on it and go and listen to it and watch us.
Absolutely. And then we have a special surprise for you that we will reveal close to the new year. But that's all we're going to say. All right?
Okay.
So until then, as always,
Be well.
we love you.
Take care of yourselves.
I'm mad at New York.
I mean, I know you're wearing your masks.
Are you?
But what's going on?
you?
What's going on? The schools are doing it.
I'm never going to get out of here.
We're never going to get out of here. We love you.
Touch base with us.
Please, please. We like that. Okay? Until then, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy
Happy holidays.
holidays.
Happy
Happy
Kwanzaa.
New Year.
Happy Hanukkah.
Bye.